Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. This is Red Dragon. It's back up once again in the open beta, and today I have a 4 vs 4 destruction game on Apocalypse Imminent. Now, I would have got a video up sooner if I hadn't been playing the game so damn much. I played it about 7 hours straight yesterday. Unhealthy amount of hours, but still, nonetheless, I managed to get some decent games to show you today. Unfortunately, at the moment, the sea battles aren't actually in the game. They've sort of kept them back, and I think they're still balancing them, so they'll probably come out later. So for now, we've got land-only maps, and it allows you to kind of explore the changes that they've made, especially considering some units seem very, very powerful, especially ADATS units in particular, and some of the bombers are just ridiculous. But still, I managed to nerf arty since the closed beta, so now rocket artillery is not as powerful. Still pretty powerful, but they basically changed the MLRS, so they fire like cluster bomb shells instead of high explosive shells, which makes them very good against like a lot of armor, but not so much against infantry. So I'm not sure how effective they'll be, but I've removed them from all my decks now anyway. Today I'm going to be showing you my Commonwealth deck, which is something to do with the new deck system. You can now have coalitions to choose from instead of just nation specific. So in this particular one, the Commonwealth consists of the British, it has the Anzac, which is New Zealand and Australia, and it also has Canada. So a pretty well balanced deck with access to a lot of powerful prototypes, because the coalition decks do allow you to access the prototypes of all of the units in the coalition. So in my particular case, I've got Challenger 2s, I've got the Lynx 3s, I've got the Chimeras, I've got the Canadian ADATs, all that kind of stuff. Stuff that's normally prototyped to those specific countries, you can now get in coalitions. So let's stop talking about the decks and actually have a look about what I've deployed. So at the start of the game, I actually bring in 2 Eurofighter Typhoons, awesome aircraft. Really, really useful air-to-air superiority. See, I brought in 2 of them. I'm spreading them out just to cover the front at the beginning of the game while I move forwards. 2 Lynx 3s. These are extremely powerful. 8 Hellfire missiles, 4 infrared anti-air missiles. Then we've got 2 Puma HC1s with Gurkhas in them. There's another one here actually, so that makes 3 with Gurkhas. Then we got 4 Lynx AH1s with Milan 2 squads in them, which are basically 2-man HGM squads. Very, very strong and extremely good for killing armor early in the game. So the idea was that I've got this Lynx AH7 with a command unit in it. They're going to land and drop into the sector at Charlie. We're going to capture this. I'm going to set up defensive HGM positions at the front near these bridges and stop this push heading down the road. If I set it to my point of view, you can see I got a complete view of this. Bubble boxes PH2 Tiger actually showing me all I need to fire at. And as you can see, because it's destruction, all the points popping up, my Lynx 3s are having a whale of a time destroying this convoy. They have no AA at the front of their convoy, so these Lynx 3s getting free shots everywhere. They finally do manage to get their flak up to the front, but it's too late. The rest of their convoy is already dead, and because they're all alone, they died just as quickly to the Hellfire missiles, and you can see that is an extremely dead convoy very, very quickly. All these SPWs dead. We've got these flaks dead, and the T-72's dead. So all they have left is some light shooting, and I'm destroying them with the machine guns on the side of Lynx AH1s. Also back here I've got my Lynx AH7 that dropped off the command squad with its rockets, trying to kill that squad as well. Now I do get rocket artied. Does take down a few of my units a bit low. One of the Gurkhas gets hit, and one of my Milan 2 squads gets hit, and that is by some BM-24s, which actually run out of ammo after that strike. So they are told to reverse and move away, which is probably a good thing, because you never want to keep your arty in the same place, because counter-artillery is very prevalent in this game. Artillery's gone back to what it seems like European escalation, where instead of them firing salvos, they now fire continuously. That's how it is anyway. So we've got my Eurofighters coming in again for another patrol. I spotted 2 Book M1s back here, and you can see that they are firing at one of my Typhoons. Unfortunately, the front Typhoon getting hit, so I do turn them away from that circle. And while evacing, the Eurofighter Typhoon decides to scare me a little by flying towards the Books again, but does manage to pull away, so that's good. Anyway, I spotted them from sending my spare helicopters that I'd used to drop off my troops up towards this tree line here to see if I could spot the command vehicle. I unfortunately didn't. But meanwhile on the right we've got Captain, who's done a great job of pushing over to Foxtrot. Now I'm actually on TeamSpeak with Captain, that is trihydroxybenzene in the game. Then we've got Bubblebox and Firetick on my team, and against me Agent Purple, Tib SC, Toby Jones and Kezek. So, Bubblebox is doing something that's really, really cool. He makes a huge flanking attempt around the left side of the map, and he does it with these amphibious vehicles. So you can see these VAB T2013s. It shows off the amphibious side of this game very well. Then he's got a couple of VBL Mistrals, also amphibious vehicles. You can tell by the amphibious stat at the bottom of the information panel. And he's using these, which are recon with anti-air missiles on them, to scout the left side, which is incredibly intelligent of him. So, because they're recon and they have the anti-air, they can shoot down anything that spots them very quickly. Because it's unlikely that the enemy are going to have recon on the left side, the main thing that he's going to have to be worried about is helicopters spotting him. And with these Mistrals, those helicopters are not going to last very long. He's also got a couple of Mistral squads on foot, and like I said before, these 4 VAB T2013s which have just crossed the river. So now I'm calling in my beast, the Challenger 2. I'm just holding my defensive line here while my Lynx 3s reload, and then I can make a push onto Delta or possibly help out Captain on the right. So Captain's engaging with Chieftain Mark 11s against these T62 MVs, and you can see that they're very good at taking on those kinds of sort of medium tanks. Chieftain Mark 11 actually has 14 front armor, but the really good thing about the Mark 11 is it still has the 2,275 meter range cannon that a lot of the high tier tanks have, and 50% accuracy to go with it, which is incredible. Whereas the enemy's T62 MV only has 40% accuracy on its main cannon, so once all its HGMs are gone, it's definitely not as powerful as a Mark 11. So Bubblebox is still moving up on the left. Mistral's making the run for it. VAB T2013s and his Mistrals getting into position, ready to flank onto the enemy's backside. But in the meantime, my Lynx AH7 manages to swing round with his force and make a quick run across the enemy before running away again. Now, again, that was another attempt at trying to scout his command unit. And with the threat of that there, the enemy does send a MiG-23BN against me, which does get shot down by Bubblebox's Mistrals. So now Bubblebox has AA right in the way of the enemy's air corridor, and this basically allows us to gain air superiority for the rest of the game. So we've now captured Foxtrot. It's not so much of a big deal in the destruction game mode of capturing sectors, which is why Bubblebox has been allowed to go up the left here. If this was Conquest, the focus would be so much on these middle sectors that flanking routes like this would not take place, which is why I decided to show you this destruction game today. It seems that in this particular game, Wargame Red Dragon that is, with the introduction of these new land maps with very powerful units, it's very easy to camp. And I find a lot of people do that, and it's kind of annoying, frustrating to play against, especially in Conquest. Destruction though, like in European Escalation, allows for a lot more maneuverability. You can go around the entirety of the map and find all of the weaknesses that are exposed, and it allows you to have some really awesome counterplay to people staying in a particular position. So up here, for example, you can see Bubblebox doing a superb job of just flanking the entirety of the enemy team and now finding the enemy command unit. Now earlier I spotted the command unit with my links, so he knew that it was in this forest, and it would have been likely that it would have been anyway. He bumps into the command squad, but unfortunately, because he sits so close to the enemy squad, they actually end up stunning the VAB T20 until it does eventually reload. But as long as this thing's running, they don't have a captured sector, and that means that they have no air corridor. Now while this is going on, Bubblebox has actually brought up its own command infantry, dropped off by Adornia 205. Now this is heading towards Alpha in order to contest it permanently. Now also, with the help of Bubblebox's Caesar, he's managing to keep the unit stunned as well. Again, stopping the enemy from consistently capturing Alpha. And it's just allowing him to continue his push up on the left here, and with all of these planes coming in, they are just dying one by one. There's a small skirmish in the middle between some SAS and Gorno-Strelki. These Gorno-Strelki being extremely good units. I love using them when I'm playing on the Red Force side. They actually have a really nice HGM, which has been nerfed a lot actually since the closed beta. Used to have 25 AP power on their HGM, and they now only have 15. I'm not sure if it's because they're the Gorno-Strelki and not the Gorno-Strelki 90, but I can't be sure. Either way, a very nice squad, a very well balanced squad for defense, because they can not only deal with infantry reasonably well, but they can also kill medium and light armored vehicles, no problem at all. Firetick is firing upon some ZTZs in this forest. And you'll see later that Captain decides to do something about that with an aardvark. Now there is an aardvark in this game owned by the Anzac. It comes with 8 1,000-pound bombs, extremely powerful, probably going to get nerfed. But it basically produces a carpet bomb effect, which is extremely potent. So once again, we've got some Eurofighter Typhoons coming in again. This time these are captains. He's using those to keep air superiority, even though Bubblebox has just got his command infantry into their enemy home sector. So now all we need to do is keep making people surrender and then push and squash Delta. Now the right side at Echo, you'll see here comes the bomber. Now unwittingly, Captain managed to destroy 3 PGZs, 3 ZTZs, and the enemy command vehicle in this forest. Pretty much destroys the entirety of TIV SC's army in one bombing strike from the aardvark. Incredibly powerful, those planes. But the only reason that happened was because the enemy showed their forces near their command vehicle. Something that is definitely worth noting. You never want to put yourself in a position where you show powerful units or defensive units right next to your CV, because if somebody goes ahead and RTs or bombs it, you're likely to lose your command vehicle as well. Something that you never want to happen. Now, command vehicles in Wargame Red Dragon, like Air Land Battle, aren't as valuable as they used to be. It's not so much of a big deal if you lose them. Meanwhile though, I am losing some Lynx 3s in the centre here. That's a very damaging blow to me. 110 points each they cost with their 8 Hellfire missiles. And that was just due to these igglers that are spread out in this compound. Now fortunately they've now ran out of infrared missiles, so Captain's Electric Voodoo does manage to get away with circling above them. However, they did manage to get those nice couple of kills before I managed to notice. Now what happens at the back here, these are actually my soldiers. If I go to my point of view, you can see that my Gurkhas have found some T-72s and some BRDMs, and I'm like, why the hell have I got troops in the top left of the map? Well, what appears to have happened is that we captured Alpha, and this meant that my troops that were originally going to come into Charlie to attack Delta now came in at the top left of the map. So noticing as quickly as possible after the big old beeper came on that I was being attacked, I do manage to get my Gurkhas forwards and take out the biggest threats quickly. So now these guys have used up the majority of their Carl Gustavs, pretty much using them all up. Now you're probably thinking these guys are now useless. One thing you have to remember is that at close range, infantry can still damage light armoured vehicles. So these BRDM-1s, for example, are very, very weak. And therefore, as long as I get these Gurkhas close enough, they're going to continue doing damage. See the gearbox hit and the major fuel leak there, stopping that BRDM from going anywhere. Now meanwhile at the back, I've got this Gurkha squad, well there's a couple of Gurkha squads actually, just very low, managing to kill a BM-24 rocket artillery unit. In the centre here, I managed to bring in a couple of GR5s, Harriers, and bomb this compound. And the idea is that these GR5s, they can get away with flying over enemy AA reasonably well because they have 40% ECM. Now ECM I think is probably one of the most important stats now in Red Dragon. Because AA has been improved so much, it basically means that you need to rely on modern aircraft with the modern ECM. Basically the ability to flare every single missile that gets fired at them. You see I did move my Gurkhas up and I'm slowly destroying the BRDM until unfortunately some ZTZ-85s come in and spoil their day. But with the disruption that Bubblebox has caused at the top of the map here, it's basically allowed us to roll the rest of the map. They haven't been able to get any reinforcements to help themselves defend, and from our point of view, it looks completely won. The map's basically blue and green. No, not much red left. I'm just trying to flush the rest of them out. We're pretty much just trying to find the last CV unit. Because of course this is destruction, the game doesn't just end when you get a good big advantage. It means you actually have to go ahead and find all these enemy CVs, which is a bit frustrating in the long term. But definitely destruction making it much better for the strategical plays that make Wargame so interesting. And it's definitely the reason I picked this replay to show to you today. So now I'm sending my Lynx AH-1s over these compounds in order to spot the enemy units. My Lynx AH-1s are getting shot down by the enemy infantry, and my bombs are actually blowing them out of the sky as well. But that was basically just me trying to have a look at what was left in this compound and whether it was worth attacking or not. I've got a couple of Stormer HVMs here. These are the British ADATS units. They come with 16 SAC-LOS missiles, which can be fired against both air and ground units at a 2,800 meter range at least. We've got 2,275 meter range against aircraft and a crazy amount of accuracy as well to go with it. So there we go. We do manage to find the last CV unit, and it was just those pesky infantry that Bubblebox tried to napalm, but managed to survive a little bit longer. But either way, that is game. So, a pretty nice one. Lasted 17 minutes and 46 seconds. We got a brilliant set of kill-death ratios on the team. Myself getting 1,758 kills to 915 deaths. We got Bubblebox with 1,238 to 1,060 losses, but the amount of disruption he's caused didn't really show in his score. And then we got Firetick, 1,253 to 375 losses, and Captain done very well with 2,423 kills to 1,020 losses. Now, KD in destruction is pretty important because obviously the victory basis is based on points after the time limit, or it's based on you rolling the enemy and destroying all their CVs. A brilliant game mode that has basically really shone to me since the introduction of Red Dragon. In Airland Battle, everyone pretty much forgot about destruction as soon as they made the changes to Conquest. Now it seems it's making a resurgence. It seems that the multiplayer list actually shows that people are playing about 50-50, which is really nice, and will create some great variance and fun in Wargame Red Dragon. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this game more. You can see that my Lynx 3s at the start of that game got so many kills. All these SPW-70s being destroyed. Basically, those SPWs also had their infantry squads in them. You don't get the infantry squad kill, but plenty of T-72 kills. We got the flak SFL kills. We got the light shoots and so on. Awesome amount of kills there. And the Gurkha's doing well, picking up some T-72 and 3 BRDM-1s. So yeah, nice bunch of kills there for all my units. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this look again at Wargame Red Dragon. I hope to get plenty more videos of this out for you guys, and I'll try not to play it too much and actually bring you guys some content. So if you aren't playing it, then look out for some more. In the meantime, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.